Hi there, welcome. Thank you for hanging out for the last few minutes as I was just getting signed in. So, today we are going over a comprehensive warm up routine. If you're new here, I'm Camille, one of the 30-day singer instructors, and I want to give you an overview of what to expect from this lesson. It's 45 minutes talking about and guiding you through warm ups, and then the last 15 minutes are always set aside for Q&A. So, if you have questions that don't get answered within the first part of the lesson, you can ask them and we'll definitely be able to answer them at the end. But I do encourage you to ask questions as we go along, especially if there's something I've mentioned that is confusing or that isn't landing for you. So, we're going to talk about, hi, Monica. Good to see you here. We're going to talk about choosing warm ups and, where vocal range or voice type factors into that. And I'm going to talk you through how to guide yourself through a warm up without a video or MP3. So, if you are a singer who has a fairly good ear or sense of pitch and you think that you could guide yourself through a warm up, I'll tell you how to do that. I'm going to take you through a comprehensive kind of general, like all purpose warm up. And then I'll talk through some types of warm ups that you might use for a specific style or specific skill, and the importance also of having in mind what you're about to sing as you warm up. So if you're about to sing a song that requires, really light falsetto or belting, or it's more of a classical sound, or it's a, casual country song, the way that you warm up for those different types of songs might be a little bit different. That's not to say that you need to have an entirely different warm up routine for every song you sing. I'm not saying that at all. But it is good to think, what am I about to do so that I can best prepare my voice to do that thing, whatever it is. And within this, I'll also give you some advice as to how to modify warm ups when they're not working for you. Oftentimes, we'll be following a warm up video, and there's going to be a point inevitably where it gets too high or low, or it's feeling strained, or something weird is happening. And so, I want to give you some guidance as well on how to modify to make that warm up still work for you. And hi, Nick. Great to see you as well. Okay, so just a little bit more talking before we jump in. I just want to front load you with some info, good kind of guidelines. So if you are choosing a warm-up video online to warm up with, then it is ideal to choose one that's been made for a voice type or a vocal range close to your own. So it's good to know, hi Anthony, it's good to know, are you close to alto range, close to tenor range, close to baritone range? Just so that you have the ballpark. And it's okay if you're off. You'll probably know pretty soon. For example, hi Keen. If I was trying to do a high soprano warm up or a bass warm up, I'm going to know it pretty soon because I won't be able to comfortably match most of the pitches that are being played. Um, so if you have questions about that, we have a ton of other videos here on the channel on finding your voice type, finding your vocal range. So I encourage you to go through that process just so that you know ballpark. And I've gotten questions recently from students who have a vocal range that spans across more than one voice type. And that might be a little bit tricky. Hi, Wayne. That might be a little bit tricky because you'll have to just choose one and then feel it out. The singer that I'm thinking of, I would say they're more of a tenor, but they technically can sing as high as an alto and as low as a baritone. And so they were thinking, okay, what type of warm up or what type of songs should I choose? And that's a little bit of a longer process, but I'm assuming, let's say you're a beginner and you just want to get started warming up your voice. It's good to know, am I close to baritone, close to tenor, etc. If pitch matching is a big struggle for you, then I really encourage you to work on that first with a chromatic tuner and with lessons designed for, just working on pitch matching. The reason is any vocal warm up you do, whether it's what we're going to do together today or anything that you find online, it assumes that you can match pitch because this is how a warm up goes. You get a pattern. Let's say it's, ba 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 ba. Generally, you're going to be singing along with the keyboard. Ba 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 ba. So you're just continually matching pitch. And then you're going to hear a little key change. Ba 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 ba, and so on. Ba ba ba. But if I can't match pitch, meaning if I can't sing along with the piano and have a sense of whether I am singing those pitches correctly or not, then it's really tricky to go through a warm up as intended. Um, so if you think that you might have trouble matching pitch, or maybe a teacher has been working on that with you or giving you um, advice, I would say work on pitch matching first, work on that in a limited range. And that's really, really worth your time to do. Um, so let's say you're not into finding warm ups online. Maybe you're a little bit more of an intermediate advanced singer and you want to take some warm ups and guide yourself through. I want to give you kind of just a way to do that for yourself. So you would either want a chromatic tuner or a virtual piano, ideally both built in. So the one that I like lately, it's the Singing Carrots vocal pitch monitor. So you can Google that, or I'm getting the link for you. And here's how a voice teacher guides a student through a warm up. We pick a starting pitch, we pick a syllable for you to sing on. So maybe the syllable is just a vowel, ooh, or something like bub, or maybe it's humming, singing through a straw. It could be any manner of sound. So we pick a syllable, we pick a pattern, meaning am I going to be going, sliding ooh, over an octave? Am I going to be walking up and down do 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 do? Am I going to be jumping around da 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 da? So lots of different types of patterns we could choose, but that's basically it. You're choosing a syllable. What am I going to sing on? And a pattern. And then you're going to take that, you're going to start in one key, da, 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 and then you're going to modulate or change keys. So if you can on in another tab, open up Singing Carrots Pitch Monitor. I will do that as well. And this is all you need to do. You don't need to play the entire pattern. So I would generally, if we were doing that warm up, I would play each individual pitch. But if you're guiding yourself through a warm up, you don't need to play each one. You really just need your starting pitch. Da, 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 da. And then next starting pitch would be the very next key up or down on the keyboard. So, again, this is a little bit advanced. I just want to throw it out there in case that's where you're at. Especially if, some of the exercises we do today, you're like, oh, I want to use that on my own, but I don't want to have to, watch Camille talk for an hour in order to do it. So you're going to enable mic and the pitch monitor will show you on the keyboard where your pitch is falling. So I'm just going to sing a random note. Okay, that was an A3, do, a sort of sharp A3. But let's say I've chosen that pattern as my warm up, singing on bub or mum. Ba, 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 ba. All I need is to play my first note, A3. I'm going to play it for myself. Ba, 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 ba. Then if I want to go higher, I'm going to play the very next key to the right. That's A sharp 3 or B flat 3. It's a little black key to the right. Ba, 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 ba. And then next, I would start on B3. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, that was awful, awful pitch, but you get the idea. Now, that does require a fairly good sense of pitch to not play each individual key. But again, I just wanted to kind of guide you through how to do this for yourself. You can, take the reins if you would like. Okay, I'm almost done talking and ready to get into these warm-ups. So today we're going through this general warm-up, kind of all-purpose. But I want to tell you, at the bare minimum, if you have 5 minutes then all you really need to do, all I do when I just have 5 minutes and just want to make sure that I've sung today, is I do a semi-closed exercise and I make it semi-wide range. So I'm not concerned about touching the very lowest notes I can sing or the very highest, but I'm making sure that my voice is going lower and higher than it does when I speak. Because that's one of the main reasons we warm up. Our speaking voice range is pretty limited. We can sing much higher than we typically speak. So that's one of the reasons we're stretching out our vocal folds to produce those pitches that, we wouldn't speak. So if I just had 5 minutes or I was feeling, a little bit sick or just kind of lazy, all I would do is personally, I would do a lip trill and I would slide around. So maybe I would do an octave slide. And then I would move down and a little bit lower and lower and lower and lower. And I would keep doing this until I feel like now it's feeling a little bit forced. And again, that process is just what I described. I'm only playing one pitch on the keyboard. I'm going just to the very next one to the left. So walking to the left down the keyboard, you're getting lower in pitch. If you walk to the right on the keyboard, you're getting higher in pitch. So that's what I would do. I would, choose my favorite semi-closed exercise. For me, that's the lip trill, but for you, it could be humming, singing on an N or NG sound, singing on a V or Z. Zzz. We'll do more of these in a little bit. Singing through a straw, that's another great one. So these type of exercises are wonderful for warming up, for cooling down. They're great all-purpose. But that's what I would do is walk myself to the lowest pitch I could sing, and then I might walk back up to my starting pitch, and then I would go higher. I'd take that very same exercise and walk it higher. And at some point, I might feel like, that lip trill isn't working well anymore. Maybe I'll try a different syllable, maybe a vowel, maybe an NG instead. And that would be my warm up. That would be it. So just something semi-closed, take it down as low as I can, take it back to medium range, take it as high as I comfortably can, and then take it back to medium range to end. And that could be your warm up for the day. So that will be our first type of warm up. Let me tell you all of the types of warm ups I intend to do with you. So I want to take you through a little bit of breath work, something semi-closed like a lip trill, but it doesn't have to be. I'm going to take you through some chest voice exercises, head voice exercises, then exercises where we're switching and or blending between chest and head voice, depending on where you're at with your singing. And then some mix exercises. And then after that, we'll get into the kind of skill specific or style specific exercises. Okay, so that's first. Let's start. It's tricky doing these live for a wide audience because I know you all have different vocal ranges. So I'm going to be playing in 2 octaves for you. I'm going to start us on C4 for high voices like mine, C3 if you have a significantly lower voice. And I'd like to do a 1-5-1 pattern. So that's going 1-5-1, but we're sliding and we're singing on something semi-closed. And I just realized I said I wanted to do breath work first. So pause, rewind. We'll get to that 1-5-1 pattern. But let's do a little bit of breathing first before we even make sound. Okay. Roll out those shoulders, stretch out your neck. You can shake out your body as well. You can walk around the room, hang upside down, whatever makes you feel relaxed and ready to get into some just gentle singing at first. Place your hands on your rib cage. Ideally, you've got a crab claw or two so you can feel the front of your belly, your sides, and your back. Your chest can be comfortably lifted, kind of confident, tall posture, but you're not pushing it out or up. You're just tall and confident. And feel your trunk expanding in all directions. So, again, those crab claws should feel that your belly is coming forward, your ribs are going out, and maybe you even feel your back expanding a little bit. And again, just breathe in and out through the nose. Okay, good. Relaxed breathing. We're going to exhale now, and you can see the cat who probably wants to get out of the room. Say hi, Muchka. Oh, or she wants to get in the closet. We're going to now breathe in and exhale on a hiss. So try that a little bit. We're not having to make this last forever, just feeling how our body naturally engages when we exhale on a hiss. Inhale, exhale, hiss. And just pay attention. I want you to focus as you're hissing. Focus on what your body is naturally doing. Don't focus on how long you can make that breath last for. Okay, that's irrelevant right now. Just feel your body. And I do have a question. Whenever you can answer, when we sing using the NG sound for warming up, how exactly does the G get articulated? Excellent question. So, unless you are going from NG to a vowel. For example, let's say you're singing hunga, 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 or something like that, then the g might be there, but the point of the NG is actually not the G sound. So you don't need to really lean into it. You don't need to go hunga, hunga. The reason we say NG instead of N is because of the way that those two sounds are made. So, an N sound, if you just sustain an N, you're going to feel the front of your tongue meeting the roof of your mouth at the front. So, front of the tongue, front of the roof of your mouth. Whereas the NG, to make that sound, you're going to feel the back of your tongue meeting the back of the roof of your mouth. In other words, your soft palate. So you can feel that difference if you say the word no, no, versus sing, sing. And we like this NG sound because it's really easy to eventually let the back of the tongue drop a little bit. So we can sort of ease into open vowels. That's why I like the NG. But yeah, to answer your question succinctly, the g sound is unimportant. It's just a matter of using a word like sing or hung that gets the back of the tongue to meet the soft palate instead of the front of the tongue. But as I mentioned before, a sustained N sound is also good. You know, if you like that, then it's good. Okay, Nick is liking the hiss and hum. So let's do a little bit of a hiss into a pulse. So what Nick is describing is, starting with a hiss and then perhaps closing to a hum. I mentioned before, I just wanted you to notice what you were feeling in your body. Now see if you can carry that same feeling from the hiss into a hum. So whatever you felt happening, maybe your low belly was crunching or flexing or just kind of staying where it was when you sustained on a hiss. See if you can keep that feeling on the hum. And just a few of these, any pitch, doesn't matter. Again, breathing in. You could keep breathing in through your nose if you want, or just drop that mouth open, breathe in through your mouth. Start on the hiss. Notice what your body feels like when you're hissing, and then close to a hum. And the whole idea there is just that you're transferring that feeling, that same muscle engagement in your belly from the hiss to the hum. Okay, next exercise, and we're not spending a lot of time on these. It's really just a reminder that we want our abdominal muscles engaged when we sing. We don't want to just be singing from our throat up, so to speak. So again, the pitch doesn't matter. I want you to just give me a hiss, 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 and then he, he. Still crab claws on your body, and we're going s, 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 he, he. Just a few of those. Again, breathe nice and relaxed, and you're feeling hiss, hiss, hiss. Your belly's doing something. Maybe it's pulsing out a little bit. S, s, s. He, he. And hopefully it's doing the same thing when you sing on the he. Okay, try a few of those on your own, whatever pitch feels comfortable. Hiss, hiss, hiss. He, he. With the third hiss and the third he being a little bit sustained. Okay. Now we're going to jump back into that SOVT. Now that we've reminded ourselves that we have a body, not just a throat. And you're singing on, it could be the NG we were just talking about, or a lip trill. Anything that feels comfortable for you and that's semi-closed. So it's not just an open vowel, there's some closure. N, v, z, anything like that. Start on C4 or C3. Ready and sing. Walk down first. Sliding. Nice and gentle. Drop out if it gets too low. Cracks are okay. Starting right here, let's do slightly wider range. Significantly wider range, I guess, on an octave slide now. Sticking with that SOVT if you like. Otherwise, you can switch to something narrow. So maybe an oo vowel or an e vowel. Oh, interesting. Nick is saying there's a cracking noise. Could it be the wire of the mic touching the keyboard? I'm not sure, Nick. Let's see. It shouldn't be touching. Let me know if it continues, but I did move my mic stand away from the keyboard in case that was it. We'll see. Let me know, Nick. So now we're at one octave slide starting on D3. This is for kind of low voices. Don't worry, we're going to take it higher in just a second. Either on an SOVT or something closed like an oo or an e. Ready and sing. Ooh. Walking up. Ooh. Still sliding. Ooh. Really gentle. Ooh. And And again, cracks are okay. Just a few more. Last one. Come back down. All right, stopping right here. I'm going to give you just a few pieces of advice. Nick, let me know if that helped. So if you're following along with a warm up and you reach a point where your voice is either giving out or something's hurting, I want to tell you what to do, because that doesn't mean you have to stop the exercise or find a different video. There are a few things. Ooh, hold on. Okay, Nick is saying it's still happening, but not as much. Okay, we'll have to troubleshoot that. I'm sorry about that. That's annoying. So if you do reach a point where you can't follow along, the first thing to try is to sing on a different syllable or vowel. So let's say you were singing on an ooh, and then you reached a point where your voice, I don't know, something felt weird or cracked, whatever. Try a different vowel. Or when in doubt, you can always try an SOVT or something semi-closed. So let's say I'll demonstrate. Let's say I'm singing ooh, and it's starting to feel a little bit tight on that top note. Ooh, it's not feeling good. It's starting to not really sound good. The first thing I'll try is a different vowel. That feels a lot better, sounds a lot better. So I'll continue with that. And I'll keep using that as long as it works. But then maybe I reach another point where no vowels are working. I'm cracking, something weird is happening. Okay, maybe my sound cuts out there at the top. Then what I'm going to do is drop the open sound completely, and I'll go back to something closed. Like the NG sound. So kind of in order of difficulty, vowels are the hardest to sing. Syllables with a consonant on them are a little bit easier. And then something semi-closed like hum and NG, that's going to be the easiest to sing. So when you reach a weird spot in your voice, you don't need to drop out. Try that first. So try a different vowel, different syllable, something semi-closed. Another way to modify the exercise, if it's going too high or too low to be comfortably sung, is just think the high note. So if I'm going for this, let's say I'm singing on that NG, but maybe the top note isn't coming out. It's just air. That's actually okay. That doesn't mean I have to stop and give up. I can just think that top note. And keep going. As long as it's not hurting, just air coming out is fine. Because eventually you might find that those vocal folds come together enough for the sound to keep going. But if you just give up and stop the exercise, then chances of those high notes opening up, chances becomes slimmer when we just stop trying that. If it's hurting though, if you're in pain, then stop. Okay, so that's the sign that you should stop singing along. Another thing that you can try is, or not try, do. Another thing that you can do is just sing in a different octave. So let's say it's getting too high to be sung comfortably. Ah, and maybe you're starting to feel pain, then I would just drop one octave lower, and continue, and so on. Now, a little disclaimer on that. If, let's say, you're doing a head voice exercise, there's a reason for it to go high. And if you drop the octave, just know that, okay, now I'm not necessarily going to be working on my head voice anymore. Because if I've dropped the octave, now I'm in my chest voice. So that's the only little disclaimer there. But that is an option for you if you want to keep singing, if you don't want to take a break or just think the pitches. And I think that's it. Those are all my tips for what to do when things get weird. But yeah, drop out if it's totally unsingable or it's hurting you, and just take that moment to get a drink of water, breathe. You can take a little break. Okay, so far we've activated our breathing muscles. We have warmed up gently on an SOVT, and now we'll do some register specific work. We'll do just a little ma, nice and bright, like the word map. Ma, 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 ma. And this is helpful for students, especially who maybe don't have a really loud, strong voice, and or don't feel a strong connection between their speaking voice and their singing voice. So if you sing really quietly, if you're kind of shy, if you sort of tend to use more head voice and you want more chest voice in your sound, then an exercise like this would be good for you to do, I would say daily. Thanks, Anthony. So high voiced singers start here, ma on A3, low voice singers on A2. And it's a really simple pattern, just ma, 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 ma. Ready and sing, ma, 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 ma. And we're walking up. Now I'm going to keep going for low voices. Ma, 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 ma. High voices, I don't want you to stay in chest voice this high. So I'm saying drop out. If I was working with just high voices at this point, we would turn around and then go back down. But because I have low voices as well, I want to give you the chance to access your upper chest voice range. So low voices, continue with me. Ma, 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 ma. Keep going and I'll get to that question soon. Ma, 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 ma. Low voices. Ma, 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 ma. Say hi to the cat. Ma, 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 ma. Around here, if you have to drop out very low voices, totally fine. Don't stress your voice out. And now we're going to come back down. Everybody join. Ma, 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 ma. Keep going. Sopranos, you can drop out. Okay, so we've just kind of reminded ourselves that we have a speaking voice. And now we're going to remind ourselves that we have head voice or falsetto function as well. Just give me a high-pitched, excited woo-woo or wee, woo-woo. Okay, there was a question. As a beginner, what should I work on first? As a beginner, I would say work on pitch matching and intonation first. As we said earlier on in this lesson, any warm up video that you do, any song that you sing, it assumes that you can match pitch. And so if you're total beginner, that's number one, pitch matching. Okay, so we've done just a little bit of chest voice. Let's do a little bit of head voice. You've kind of found that function with the high pitched, excited woo woo or wee wee. Let's do everyone on the same pitch. Woo 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 woo. You're very welcome. We're all starting on G4. Woo 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 woo. Woo 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 woo. And the reason I'm giving you that W sound is so that we don't think of it as singing. So if we just sang on an ooh, ooh, some of us aren't ready for that yet. And some of us are going to freak out because changing pitches on a vowel can be tricky. So give me woo, woo, woo. Ready and sing. Woo, 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 woo. Very casual. Woo, 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 woo. And remember the choices you have here. As it gets too high, because it'll get too high for low voices and it'll get too high for high voices as well at some point, depending on your range. The choices that you have, switch vowels, sing on something semi-closed, just think the high note. You can drop the octave if you want to just work on chest voice. And then if it's totally unsingable and or hurting, then you can just take a break. Okay, here we are jumping back in. Everybody is starting on A4. Make sure that you are starting on A4, low voices, not A3. Because low voices, especially if you're used to singing along with higher voices, your tendency, your kind of default is going to be to sing one octave lower. I play this and you sing or even an octave lower. So use the Singing Carrots vocal pitch monitor to make sure you are on A4. Okay, here we go. We're just still using this casual, excited woohoo sound. Woo, 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 and sing. Woo, 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 woo. Going up. Now, this right here is getting so high that if I was a low voice, I could sing the octave lower and be in falsetto. So as high voices are like woo woo all the way up there, low voices could be woo 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 and still be working on their head voice. So totally an option. I'll play both octaves for you. Ready and sing. Last one. And walk down. Staying in head voice if you can, keeping it really light, even if you're in that lower octave. Ooh, not in chest voice. Ooh, here you go. Ooh. Cool. So we've done chest voice, done head voice. Now I'm going to give you two options for this next exercise. We're going to start in chest voice, then go into head voice, and come back down. And if you would like a challenge, so if you're a little bit more of an advanced singer, you can slide If you're more of a beginner, then I would say don't worry about sliding, just jump. Ooh, and you might experience a little crack in there, and that's okay. We're starting on G3, jumping or sliding to G4. So I'd call this, if you're jumping, this would be like a switching registers or switching modes exercise. If you're sliding, we might call this more of a blending exercise. So pick your poison, try both. And again, you're starting on G3 or G4. And Keen was asking, whenever you can answer, what are your methods or what do you do after a vocal warm up? Because sometimes we get vocal fatigue. Me, I mostly warm up with already medium to high notes right away. So ideally, okay, if you're tired before starting to warm up, or I guess let me clarify. Let me ask a clarifying question. Are you saying your warm up is tiring you out and then you're like, "Oh wait, I wanted to work on a song but my voice is tired. What do I do?" Let me know if that's what you mean. If that is the case, I would say generally, your warm up doesn't have to be 30 minutes long. Okay, yeah. So before you're working on a song and your warm up has already tired you out, I would say shorten that warm up and maybe less intensity. Because you bring up a great point. If I tire myself out just working on vocal exercises, then I might not have the energy and the kind of money in the bank to actually work on the songs that I want to work on. So that's what I would do, if especially if you're working on, really wide range or like belting stuff, or you're just new to singing and it's most things that you do maybe are a little bit fatiguing. Shorter warm up so that you do have time to work on songs. I know that seems like a very simple answer, but the only other thing I would think of is take a little bit of a break in between your warm up and repeat that second part of the advanced slide. Yes, we're going to jump into that. Um, take a little bit of a break and even like a vocal cool down or sort of reset. My favorite would be singing through a straw or doing the pufferfish exercise. That's where you're sustaining a B sound. And you can let those cheeks puff out. Really, really feels good, especially if you're feeling a bit fatigued, a little bit off. So that would be something to try as well. Shorter warm up, less intense, and then give yourself, 5 to 10 minutes maybe in between your warm up exercise and then going into your song work. And consider taking those 5 minutes to drink water and do some sort of vocal cool down, like that pufferfish exercise. And Nick, so our choice here, we're either sliding, ooh, sorry, you're starting on ooh, or you're jumping, ooh. So the jumping is the easier version, sliding is the harder version. Ooh, and then you're just coming back down. Ooh, ready and sing. Come back down. keep going if you have a lower voice. Ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Okay, again, sliding a little bit harder. Okay, so I sing mostly high songs, and you know about what kind of foods and drinks as a singer are the best to consume to improve and have a healthy singing voice? Yes. So, as far as food and drink, there are very few things that we can say across the board, like every singer should do this or every singer should not do this, because just like allergies, like our bodies are different and will respond differently. You will see kind of over and over, singers tend to be sensitive to things like sugar, spice, everything nice, dairy, alcohol, caffeine. Those are kind of the big ones um, that people find they affect their voice, and so they'll avoid before singing. However, if you have no problem eating dairy or sugar or caffeine, you don't need to avoid it just because other people avoid it. If it affects you, then avoid it. But caffeine and alcohol, those are things that can be drying, and so that's another reason that a lot of singers avoid them. Um, the most important thing is hydration for you, and hydration all the time, not just right before you sing. If you go onto this YouTube channel and then in the search bar, look up food, drink, medication. There will be a few videos there for you that will go in depth and cover the things that I'm forgetting right now. But yeah, the main answer is hydration, number one. And then there are some things that people tend to avoid, but because we're different, it's worth doing little experiments to see what actually affects you specifically. Okay, so now last exercise in our just general basic warm up is something that targets mix. And probably the best syllable we could use for that is something like the word one. So I know normally we do like a bottom to top thing. I'm going to do a top to bottom instead. 1, 1, 1. And I'm going to try to find a zone that's going to work for low voices first. Let's try starting right here, low voices. High voices, I'd like you to join a little bit later. I don't want you to join up the octave right now. 1, 1, 1. I want you to hang out, and then I'll kind of give you the, come on, come join when it's time. Low voices, here you are. 1, 1, 1. And the goal here is that we're not flipping into head voice if we can avoid it. As you're getting higher, like around, E4 or even sooner low voices, you might want to go ooh in head voice, or you might want to start shouting and go 1, 1, 1, but try to keep it nice and tall up and down. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And again, the goal here is that we're targeting this chest dominant mix sound. So we're not flipping into head voice, but we're also not getting shouty to try to hang on to chest voice. Low voices, 1, 1, 1. Your starting note is A3, then F sharp 3, then D3. Should be relatively comfy, like medium high for some voices. Ready and sing. 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1. Nice relaxed breath every time, and let your jaw drop. 1, 1, 1. Breathe. 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1. Pause right here. High voices, you can join me now. Everybody together is singing D4. Yeah, D4, B3, G3. So it's a 5-3-1 pattern. Ready and sing. 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1. Breathe. Low voices, if you have to drop out, totally fine. If your voice cracks, that's okay. Last two. 1, 1, 1. Come back down. Breathe. Low voices, keep going. And we're back where we started. You might notice, our warm-ups, some of them we just kind of go from low to high, but a lot of times we're maybe starting more in the middle of our voice and then going lower to relax and then higher to stretch and then back to medium range. Or we kind of start low and go high, but then we come back to low. That's good to keep in mind if you're building your own warm-up and guiding yourself through, is it's a little bit stressful for your voice to go, okay, low and then high and then back to low again. So we're kind of treating our voice like a rubber band that we're stretching out, but then we're letting relax gradually. So we're not just going stretch, relax, stretch, relax. Um, so I realized we made it through our general warm up, but we don't have nearly enough time for those kind of song and style specific warm ups that I mentioned. But I'll talk about them a little bit, and it is a great time for Q&A, since we've got less than 10 minutes left. So what I was mentioning before, if you're about to work on, let's say, a classical piece with a lot of melismas, meaning really fast moving passages, then ideally your warm up is going to get you into that zone. It's going to set you up for that. Likewise, if you're about to work on a song that has high, intense belting, your warm up hopefully is going to prepare you for that. So, probably, like realistically speaking, your kind of general warm up exercises, those we covered today, breath work, something semi closed, chest voice, head voice mix, that's going to be pretty consistent across the board, especially for contemporary singing. I know classical singing is a little bit of a different beast, but those are the types of exercises you can expect to benefit from daily, just regardless of what you're going to sing. But then in addition to that, let's say you have a song with some unique demands. That's when I would add on to my general comprehensive warm up. I might add on, a belt exercise or two. Or, if I have something with a lot of like flips or yodels, maybe I'll work on that for a little bit just so I'm in that zone. You don't need to beat it to death, but just get yourself in that space, if that makes sense. So different ideas for that I think we'll just have to cover in a different live lesson will be range extension type exercises, agility exercises, belt exercises, vowel work, which would be really fun to cover. And yeah, I'd love to cover that in another lesson with you. Keen was asking, what about confidence? I have an audition coming this November. I still lack confidence. Can you give me some tips on how to nail this audition? Absolutely. So I would say number one, in your practice, make sure that you're incorporating the mindset component, not just the singing. Because I think we make this mistake. I've made this mistake of thinking that if I just work on the singing, then I will have the confidence and I will be able to perform well in the room. And sometimes that's been true and sometimes not. Sometimes my nerves have really gotten the better of me. So I would encourage you to um, set aside some time, and it's great that you do have time, that the audition is in November. Um, that you work on the performance part of it in your practice time as well, not just singing it well. So, ideas for that would be that you record yourself and watch it back. Even just the act of pressing record on your phone or whatever your device is, that gives you kind of like the butterfly feeling that you might get on the day. Another way to do this is to do something like a mental rehearsal where you're closing your eyes, you're envisioning everything about that audition, like everything you know about it, where you're going to be, who are you going to see, um, and you give yourself like basically a dress rehearsal that you're putting yourself mentally in that zone. The whole point here is that you're letting your body feel some of those nervous feelings that you're probably going to feel on audition day. If I only ever practice in the absence of nerves, then I just don't have the experience when I'm feeling nerves on audition day to still perform and do well. So we're kind of using a little bit of, voodoo mind tricks, or Jedi mind tricks. I guess that's not voodoo, Jedi. Jedi mind tricks to get ourselves a little bit nervous and then practice with those nerves. Um, there's a podcast that I've referenced a lot. It's called the Inner Singer podcast with Mike Goodrich, and he has a lot on mindset and kind of tackling that component. So you might like some of his stuff, Inner Singer. And he's where I learned about the value of mental rehearsal and, this whole idea of mirror neurons. Like he gets a little bit nerdy with it, which is fun. Another idea would be to do a dress rehearsal for your audition in front of a friend or family member, or again, even to just record yourself and then maybe send it to them for feedback. That'll give you some of the nervous energy, um, and that you practice not only what's happening in the song, but also before and after. So, how are you going to walk into the room? Are you going to slate or like say your name and what you're about to sing? Um, all of that is part of it, and that you also give yourself a chance um, to sing the song from start to finish with mistakes. Like, give yourself a chance to practice recovering from mistakes because again, those are probably going to happen. Um, I'm not saying that you're going to make a bunch of mistakes, but probably something is going to happen that makes it not a perfect performance. That's just being realistic. And if in the practice room you always stop and restart, you shouldn't do that on audition day. You might not get the chance to do that. So give yourself a chance to, I'm going to sing this song through from start to finish. If I make a mistake, great, because that's going to give me an opportunity to roll with the punches and to not, make a face and, really fall apart. Um, so the music keeps going, you'll keep going. And the more that you practice recovering, the easier it gets, the more natural it feels. But in the beginning, it's really uncomfortable to make a mistake and not fix it right away because that's everything in us wants to do that. And Nick was saying, every setback I've encountered with my voice, I get it back thanks to your teaching. Oh, that's so wonderful. That would be so, so fun. I've traveled to sing before, but I've never really traveled to teach. So that would be really, really cool. Nick, that means so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, so I hope that this was helpful for you. Again, I did not realize how much time we would spend just kind of talking through the process. And I know it was a lot of talking today, hopefully a lot of singing for you too. But I just want to explain everything that we're doing in these live lessons so that you can use it in your own practice. That's important to me, that as a singer, you're empowered to um, have good practice time on your own. Because I know, our most of the singing that we do, uh, most of the practice that we do is not in the presence of a teacher. So you've got to put on your teacher hat a lot of the time, even if you're taking regular lessons, which most of us aren't, but even if you were, say once a week, 6 days a week, you are your own teacher. So, all right, Keen. Um, Glad to help. And we do have plenty of live lessons on, building confidence and performance as well. So I encourage you to utilize that search bar, and maybe you'll find some more stuff that I forgot about. The next 2 weeks, thanks, Anthony. Next 2 weeks, I believe you're going to have Abram, or maybe just one. Maybe it's Abram and then it's me again, I think on the 23rd. But whatever happens next week, you will not see me, but I think the following you might. And thank you for being here live. I really appreciate it and appreciate your feedback and your questions as always. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.